today, 5.4 miles. Patrick O'Donovan tight through the pit lane, hugging the inside of that hairpin. The longest of the day, 5.4 miles. And the rally could well be decided here, especially with John Griffiths, Emma Morrison, and Ollie O'Donovan, Ashley Morris going in together into chicanes like they did at the top of Paddock Hill Bend. So this stage starts on the old rally stage, on the Experience rally stage, where we've been featuring for all of the stage layouts today. It goes through the lower paddocks. The cars then go past the Kentagon and they head on to the circuit, correct direction. And they actually, when they do the final split, they go around the... Sorry, I'm just looking at the stage layout now and trying to remember my way around Brands Hatch. They actually go around... Yeah, they're going around Stirling, Sheen Curve, Dingle. They're going right round, aren't they? Yeah, then they finish along the... along on the international circuit for the finish of this stage. We will be live with you for this, the penultimate stage, and then we'll bring you action for the first few competitors through the final stage of the day as the lights are dimmed, the spotlights are on, and the atmosphere is turned up to max. And we'll bring you reaction from the finish with the champagne spraying and the celebrations for our top 3 podium finishers at the end of stage 8. Speaking to Michael Igoe, Will Atkins, they were definitely playing the long game today. Michael's GT racing endurance experience coming in as he keeps his head level and goes into the final 2 stages with a very clear plan. Consolidate, keep a nice balance, don't throw it away, and keep one eye on that prize. Never gets too high, never gets too low. It's the ultimate sportsman mindset, isn't it? John Griffiths, Ollie O'Donovan, Sean Quigley firing each other through that hairpin and down the pit lane in the wrong direction, one by one. If you go to rallies.info, you can get your up-to-date results. But coming into this stage, with that 5-minute penalty for Patrick O'Donovan, Michael Igoe and Will Atkins lead the way with 38 seconds the margin back to John Griffiths and Emma Morrison. It's still less than a puncture, though, isn't it? You have to stop and change a puncture on these events. You're not changing a puncture in 38 seconds, believe you and me. And although that is a bit of a cliche, it happened at Cadwell Park. We were robbed of that fight. I say that Michael Igoe is playing the long game, but looking at how he's firing that car, that Nova of Christopher and Anthony Newton looked great going over the bunny hop up the hill from the old paddock towards the Kentigan, didn't it? Yeah, I don't think that Michael Igoe looks on that stage to be playing the long game. He's throwing that Citroen C3 Rally 2 around. A year ago today, he was doing his first rally, seated at number 39. Here he is seated at car 3, coming here second in the championship, having won 2 of 3 rounds so far this season, starting the year with a win at Alton Park and adding another one to the tally last time out in the East Midlands at Donington Park. Will it be 3 from 4 heading back up north this evening? He'll be hoping so, but you still wouldn't put any money on it. So second place at this stage, John Griffiths, Emma Morrison, our championship leaders. It will stay that way as well. It'll be tight though, I believe, if it stays that way. They are our reigning champions, don't forget. Tony Robinson, Paul Spooner back in 3rd place. 34 seconds back. That will be a well-deserved and no doubt delighted podium for those two if they manage to keep that up. Ollie O'Donovan, Ashley Morris in 4th place, but they're only 2 seconds back. Very much in the fight now. Ollie saying himself that it had a rough morning, really, not really gelled with the car and just made a few mistakes, and he's hung in there, and with a retirement or misfortune, shall we say, for Patrick. It's almost retirement, isn't it, when you take a 5-minute penalty for hitting a chicane. With that misfortune, jumping up to 4th place now, and Joshua Davey, Tamsin Davey didn't lose quite as much time as we thought they might with that spin they had, so 40 seconds back in 5th place at the moment. Richard Weaver, Dylan Thomas, spoke to them, didn't we, on my walk around earlier. They're 6th place at the moment, just a further second back. Sean Quigley, Colin Quigley then a second back again, so you know, just single seconds separating positions at the back end of the top 10 here. James Slaughter, Josh Slaughter, Martin Hodgson, Tony Jones battling for 8th position. 29 seconds the gap in that. Richard Weatherly and Sean Leyland in the EDSL car in Fiesta Rally 4, rounding out the top 10 as things stand. So very tight throughout the top 10, and indeed throughout the classes as well, as we've come to expect from each of the rounds so far this season. If you've tuned in and you've wondered how you've managed to miss the first 3 rounds, don't worry, the footage, the live coverage on the day and the highlights programs after the events are all available to watch on the special stage Facebook and YouTube page. That Mitsubishi Evo 3 firing flames out of the exhaust. Joshua and Tamsin Davey have got the hazard warning lights on, and they don't look like they're at absolute full tilt, I've got to say. Occasionally you see rally cars with their indicator on, that's when they've knocked it by mistake, but you don't knock the hazard warning lights by mistake usually, so possibly a problem there, but we'll keep an eye on that one. They have had a stonking day here at Brands Hatch, haven't they? Brands Hatch, not necessarily the natural go-to venue when you think of circuit rallying, the circuits that have played host to rallies and rally stages as part of high-profile events in the past, not like Donington Park, Alton Park, Cadwell Park. It used to mix ranks with the stately homes on events like the Lombard RAC Rally, but nevertheless, it's earning its keep as part of the MGJ Engineering Circuit Rally Championship. Paul Sheard showing a few scars from his earlier moment, having stuffed the Sheard Autosport MX-5 into the Recticel bales at the bottom of the Graham Hill bend. Sorry, I was reacting to a couple of cars getting ever so close to the tyres and getting a bit leery on the hairpin in the pit lane. Wayne Larbalestier in that Mitsubishi Evo 3 that you can see there. Look at the flames. That's going to look spectacular come the next stage when the lights are off. The lights off now, please. I want to see that in the dark. James Slaughter, Josh Slaughter in the Cossack Escort, again 24th in Class C, the most hotly contested class here this weekend, and indeed the same was true last year. Going well. They've been throwing that Cossack Escort around today, and so have those two. Chris and Anthony Newton in the Nova, swapping seats for this round in that orange Nova, and you saw there just how well Chris has been pedaling that car. Joseph Duffy, Daniel Duffy, been going well in there. Lotus Elise, 15th overall, first in class. Coming into this penultimate stage, and they were only 2 seconds behind the Newtons in that Nova, and indeed only 1 second ahead of Alistair Hutchinson. And John Dykes, who you see on your screen, going around to join the Grand Prix circuit loop here at Brands Hatch. That Clio looks ever so well planted, doesn't it? If you're used to watching circuit racing at Brands Hatch, perhaps you watch British Superbikes or British touring cars, maybe British GT around this circuit. It looks quite a strange sight, doesn't it? Seeing cars slotting right onto the Grand Prix loop with the MSVC and clearways in the background. James Crossley there, taking out a cone as he heads up the hill from the lower paddock. The battle scars, I'm not sure what from, but definitely clear to see on the co-driver's door on that number 33 BMW, the car that was parked in the gravel at Paddock Hill Bend 2 stages earlier. Or was it 1 stage? I think they recovered it, didn't they? 1 stage earlier. Nice little bit of air over the bump up the hill for Scott Stutchbury, Darren Stutchbury in the Clio 197. They come here 45th on the overall championship standings. Only 1 DNF to their name so far, which explains why they're so far down the order, but hoping to get a few points on the board this weekend. They didn't finish the Brands Hatch Winter Stages last year, so they'll be looking to right that one. The little yump that you see up there has Mick Jowers, Ben Jowers fire their Escort up the hill. That little yump there, no doubt enjoyed by the circuit staff on a quiet day here at Brands Hatch. I bet those of them who have never realised there was any kind of jump or any opportunity for air there will be taking the little MSV Connect van up there tomorrow just to, you know, double check. Scott Rayner almost landing and flicking that Escort off into the furniture up there. Lee Dyke alongside. The second of the G&B Finch. Steve Finch fielding those 2 cars, that and the Fiesta Super 1600 JWRC Fiesta. Ashley Davies and Sam Fordham were in, unfortunately. Power steering issues. Despite Ashley doing his best to keep that car in the rally, it wasn't to be. And we won't see that car back out. Vince Bristow, Tim Sayer in the oldest car on the entry, that Mark 1 Escort Mexico. They were 4th in Class C, so they don't hang about in that old car. He's had that for decades, that car. That's great in the Corbeau livery, isn't it? And there's that red Mark 1 that has been going so well and hustling quite a few faster machines today at Ben Smith. Lucy Wilding. Lucy having joined us herself as a driver at the first round of this championship. Now back in the co-driver's seat. Indeed, they were 4th in Class C last year. Interestingly enough, on the entry, they were in a 106 Cup car. It's quite a change of machine, isn't it? 106 Cup car to Mark 1 Escort. Right, we have got our first few times in, so wow, things are moving around on the leaderboard. Michael Igoe, Will Atkins, 39 seconds, 1 second pulled out of our reigning champions John Griffiths and Emma Morrison through that one. Ollie O'Donovan, Ashley Morris now into 3rd place. Albeit we haven't received all of our times, but I don't think we're waiting for any times that are likely to impact on that top 3 there. Tony Robinson, Paul Spooner, 3 seconds back from Ollie O'Donovan in the Skoda. The top 4 cars then, all different manufacturers, all current or recent generations. Citroen C3 Rally 2, Ford Fiesta R5, Hyundai i20 R5, Skoda Fabia R5. That's a formidable leaderboard, isn't it? Sean Quigley, Colin Quigley at the moment in 5th place, 46 back in their Fiesta R5. Richard Weaver, Dylan Thomas doing enough to stick to 6th place, 7 seconds back, still all to fight for, and they've got to keep an eye on their mirrors, because although they've dropped back, Joshua Davey, Tamsin Davey and the Darien T90 are only 3 seconds back in 7th place. Martin Hodgson, Tony Jones, 41 back. And then you've got James Slaughter, Josh Slaughter in 9th place, and rounding out the top 10 at the moment, Tim Mewitt, Liz Jordan in the Escort. They're only 36 back, so still very tight. Class A then taken up mainly by our leaderboard overall. Wayne Larbalestia in the Mitsubishi Evo 3 RS, leading Class B from Sam Gendy and Sam Bartlett in the Mitsubishi Evo 9. Far from a comfortable margin though in that lead. Martin Hodgson, Tony Jones leading Class C from Nigel Brain, Catherine Brain in the Mazda MX-5. Then it's Michael Bowl and Easy Lawrence, keeping out of trouble today, and as a result sometimes you head down and you keep yourself out of the stories as well, but definitely been doing a good job out there and just keeping their nose clean in the Clio, third place in Class C. In fact, they've got that X-Works DTV Vauxhall Forenza behind them of Brian Watson, Mike Hewson. Class C then still really hotly contested, and it's pretty close times in there to look out for. Class D, Joshua David, Tamsin David leading the way from that impressive overall position. James Slaughter, Josh Slaughter in that battle in the overall positions and in the class in the escort. They're in second in Class D, then Richard Weatherly and Sean Leyland are in third. In Class E, Joseph Duffy, Daniel Duffy in the Elise are leading the way. And then you've got behind them Paul Sheard, Colin Stevens, probably feeling quite lucky to have got away with their moment where they punched the MX-5 into the Rex Cell Bale. Probably also quite grateful that they had Rex Cell Bale down there and didn't have to contend with Bear Armco. That Forenza is just a brilliant looking car. It's Charles de Gaston there who has been going well. And we saw Mick Johnson as well. Peter Pears, the man with his name above the door in this event and in the championship. 10 years MGJ Engineering, Mick's company, have been sponsoring the Brands Hatch winter stages. He's delighted to still be as involved as he is, and you know, he's also pretty pleased, I think, rightly so, with the direction the championship is headed in as well. George Sheard is pushing on in that little Puma kit car. Ryan Connolly actually sent me a message. Remember him, one of our big Class C contenders, in fact, Class C champion, wasn't he? A few years ago in the championship. Was watching the coverage earlier and lamenting that he wasn't one of the people out there in a Puma kit car, but also delighting in the fact that he thinks he might have inspired one or two more to stick some wide arches on a Puma and go out rallying in the Circuit Rally Championship. In the 1400 class, it won't surprise you to know that Anthony Newton and Christopher Newton in that Vauxhall Nova have things all their own way. They've really been pushing on. John Bray, Gary White came into this, haven't put a time down yet in the 1400 MGZR to be in second place, and it's the Christmas Mini. Duncan and Laura Christmas in third place at the moment in Class F in the 1400 class. But at the moment, as far as the top of the leaderboard is concerned, things opening out in the top three. Michael Igo, Will Atkins, 39 seconds ahead of John Griffiths and Emma Morrison themselves with a 39-second advantage over Ollie O'Donovan and Ashley Morris. That's your top three. Tony Robinson, Paul Spooner, only 3 seconds behind, and will really want to be get themselves back into contention for a podium position. Fourth, their best finish, and that was at Cadwell Park this season. They would love a podium finish. It will be very well deserved as well, and they're definitely in the fight. It's going to be close between third, fourth, and Sean Quigley and Colin Quigley are coming on strong in fifth as well. In fact, no one's really very far behind anybody inside the top 10 as we speak. 5.4 miles makes this the longest layout that we've had today. It includes more of the Grand Prix section of the circuit than we've had so far. And it does start once again on that Rally School section of stage. So to remind you, we'll be live throughout this stage, and then we will bring you a bit of action and the finish reaction of the champagne celebrations at the podium at the end of the 8th stage today. And then we'll be 4 rounds in. Here in the MGJ Engineering Circuit Rally Championship. few of you commenting on the special stage live coverage today that it's great to have live rallying back. It's great to be back out rallying. We had a taste of rallying ourselves with rally rides last weekend. If you keep your eyes peeled, you'll be able to see what we got up to. We'll be sharing some film from the day when we went for a bit of a busman's holiday, a bit of a team building day in Worcester. It was good fun. Pete Rayner confirming that Scott Rayner's, good to hear from you, Pete, good to have you on the coverage with us, confirming that it's his car, the yellow tam-down car, if you remember. It used to be so synonymous with the events that we used to cover here on special stage, asphalt events, circuit championship events. And it's his car that Scott Rayner, his son, is competing in. He's got that Rayner glint in his eye, Pete. Callum Cross is watching from Vegas. I was wondering where Paul Murrow and Callum Cross were. Third place at Cadwell Park, and would have quite liked the banter of seeing if they'd managed to come out of the blocks a bit faster this time, having to normally make life hard for themselves. Well, they're making life very hard for themselves as far as the championship is concerned, if Callum Cross is currently in Las Vegas. But hope you're having a great time, and great that you found time to break off from the holiday to tune into the live coverage of the MGJ Engineering Circuit Rally Championship. I think so far you win the prize for the furthest travelled in terms of where you're tuning in. Alex Hughes here with his son watching. He says he's had a great day. Driver of the day was car 12, Wayne Larbalestier, in the Mitsubishi Evo 3. You'll be pleased with that because he didn't seem that pleased with his efforts after the first couple of stages this morning. So I think he'll be pleased with that plaudit from you. Hello to Lewis Sim, who's tuned in. Daniel Moore, who's very kindly sponsored the special stage team wear this year. Rallying his life is Dan's brand. A man with rallying at the heart of pretty much everything he does. Cut him in half, it will say rallying his life, and that's what it says on his website as well. So if you want to get your hands on some special stage merchandise, search for Rallying His Life on Facebook and head to the online store where you can pick up a whole range of goodies adorned with things like Peugeot Cosworths and Michelin Pilot Escort Cosworths. Hello to you if you're just tuned in. It's been great to have you with us today. It's been really good to get back out, and despite that extremely cold start, in fact it hasn't really warmed up here at Brands Hatch. It's been a brilliant day, and all I can smell is rally hydrocarbons from the engines are ringing in my ears. Actually, all I can smell is what producer Wayne had for lunch. It's a particularly smelly lasagna. Great food though here at Brands Hatch, got to qualify that. Smelly in a good way. Stop talking about the way the food smells, Paul. Hello to Ollie Hunter. Sorry, Wayne. You know, Wayne said to me the other day, no one used to know who I was. They used to always go under the radar, and then he started talking about me and putting pictures of me up everywhere. You know when he does those photos where he doesn't smile? He does that on purpose. He's smiling inside. It's like his thing. He thinks it's cool. It's like a trademark that he does. Well, I've got some photos of him smiling. You'd be pleased to know. So I'm going to keeping them as leverage. Might need them one day. Anyway, back to the rally. David Graham said, would anyone sponsor my car so I can get back out there? And there's $1 million question, quite literally. Well, you know, knock on a few doors. Add a bit of value, see what you can do. Shake some money trees. The Christmas Mini, as I have decided to call it, is chasing down the escort of Ian Broadfoot and David Rowley. In fact, the Mini's so small, I'm not sure they'll be able to even see it in their rear view mirrors. Brilliant to see a classic Mini out on the stages. And there is a more modern BMW Mini that's been chucked around something wicked today as well, from my neck of the woods, from Driffield, Rob Watson, Emma Cooper alongside. They were going ever so sideways earlier. I appreciate that at times I'm talking about cars that are in my view and not on your screen. Dominic Norman, Vlad Arnolino have been entertaining today, haven't they, in that Mark II Golf GTI. It looks fairly standard from the outside, that, but it's quite well prepared, let me tell you. Alex Steele, was that tyre smoke or was that a little worrying wisp of oil smoke from the back of the ST150? Those 2-litre Duratex can be a little bit, what's the word? High maintenance. Once you start seeing oil smoke puffing out on gear changes, it's time to start looking for another engine to stick in them usually. I don't want to jinx anything though, Alex, if you're watching this back later. Do love the bumper pods on it though. Looks really cool. Being hounded down at the moment by that Mark II Escort of it's Oliver Hucklebridge, isn't it? Chris West. It's not the Chris West in that Mark II, is it, Wayne? We were talking about him earlier when we said for the final stage today, what we could really do with is some fluorescent light-up numbers on the door like you get on Le Mans racing cars. You know the ones. Well, do you remember when Chris West brought some out in the Circuit Championship a few years ago? 2017 or something like that, wasn't it? They worked really well, didn't they? Well done to the special stage team. As you see, David Lodge, David Ottaway. They've been having a good day today. Took a top 20 overall in last year's event and on for beating that one today. Yeah, well done to the special stage team, to Phil and the other boys out there. It's very cold, and Mason and I at least had the pleasure of being able to come back to the makeshift studio here in one of the hospitality suites in the Brabham buildings. Thanks to Brands Hatch for making those arrangements. In between, warming up in between live sections out on the stage. It's the extremely standard Mazda MX-5 of Morgan Sparrow and Martin Corbett, just proving that you don't need a highly modified car or indeed a high-spec car to come and have fun and get involved here in the MGJ Engineering Circuit Rally Championship. Don't get me wrong, if you want to compete at the sharp end of the championship, well, you're talking a current or recent generation car for the most part, although we have seen Mark IIs and Darians up there, haven't we, putting in giant killing performances when the conditions and everything, all the stars align and all those kind of things. But you know, you can compete here in various classes in all manner of ways. And in fact, Stuart Gilks and Dan Taylor in that junior spec Lotus Bits junior car that Dan Taylor is competing in the junior championship are a great example of that little C1, which Mike Taylor and Kathy Stewart, their young lad Dan, both quite formidable names in this championship themselves over the years, and indeed class champions here in the Circuit Rally Championship. In fact, Mike did confirm to me that he was hoping to have both he and Kathy back out at some point soon as well, so we'll see a full family effort. But for now, Stuart Gilks is showing Dan how it's done, as Dan does his first rally as a co-driver. And you see him there just going off onto the international part of the circuit through the stop line. Coming towards the end of this penultimate stage, just 5.4 miles left to decide which way this will go. Doing my maths, I think actually, the way things stay, I think it would actually be Michael Igoe taking the lead of the championship, but it would be very, very slim, very tight at the top between him and John Griffiths. So, again, don't quote me on that, will you? But I do think that's the potential permutations of the point situation if things stay as they are right now. But hey, we've still got 5.4 miles. Doesn't sound like a lot, but you know, some of these stages today have thrown up a lot of drama and some story-changing jeopardy in less miles than that. I'm just hanging on to the light here at Brands Hatch, aren't we? We've had the winter solstice, so the lights are getting lighter and that's brilliant for all manner of reasons, but we do want a bit of darkness and we'll get it as well, just as we go into stage 8. Alex Steele in that Fiesta ST150. I thought he was going to take a chunk of Mark II Golf GTI bumper with him there, flashing his lights into the hairpin in the pit lane. Didn't want to be held up there, on for a decent result and wants to stick to it. Talking to Richard Weaver earlier, who's really gone very well today. Been one of the surprises, I think, of today. Sean Quigley has impressed us in his Fiesta R5, but has gone well here before. But Richard Weaver just came out and drove that blue Fiesta R5 like it was a Mark II Escort, and like the tyres were going out of fashion, and he had to get through them as quickly as possible. Talking of which, Alex Steele into the final corner of the stage there, really throwing that Fiesta onto its door handles. I think he was trying to prove a point, didn't want that Mark II Golf coming back through, did he? Duncan was doing his best to prove his point. Xavier Brook, who started today with a puncture and has had a fairly frustrating day. He's coming round to finish there. Sean Quigley, Colin Quigley have got their own frustrations as well with penalties for hitting markers, which would explain why they dropped back a little bit earlier on. He did mention that when we spoke to him, didn't he? Xavier Brook coming round in the Paul Sheard Autos MX-5 then to round things off for the penultimate time here at the Brands Hatch Winter Stages. We will be back in just a few moments' time with a bit of action. As the lights start to dim, we'll have spot lamp pods bolted on, lights dancing in the air, and we will have those celebrations in the closing few miles of this 4th round of the MGJ Engineering Circuit Rally Championship. Don't go anywhere. The finale is up next. Right then, as quick as that, back in a flash, but I did say we'd be back soon. We're back live for the final stage of the Brands Hatch Winter Stages, round 4 of the MGJ Engineering Circuit Rally Championship. A rally which, characteristic of the championship so far in the first 3 rounds, has done anything but give us clear signals from an early stage as to what was going to happen. But right now, it looks like Michael Igoe and Will Atkins have done exactly what they came here to do in that Citroën C3 Rally 2. They have 5.4 miles to seal it. And let's not forget what happened at Cadwell Park. The last mile of that stage saw Michael Igoe and Will Atkins take 2 punctures, ending their rally and leaving them bitterly frustrated and taking them out of the fight. So they've got to get through the 5.4 miles of this final stage here at Brands Hatch. John Griffiths, Emma Morrison 39 seconds behind. Ollie O'Donovan, Ashley Morris 39 behind them. And only 3 seconds behind them, Tony Robinson, Paul Spooner. I have no idea who I'm going to be down there greeting and interviewing as our top 3. I've got a feeling we might have Michael Igoe and Will Atkins down there, but I've had that feeling before during this winter rally season. So I still, with only a few miles left, wouldn't be putting any money on it. John Griffiths, Emma Morrison going into the chicane with, I think that's Ollie O'Donovan, and Ashley Morris neck and neck through the merge. John Griffiths, Emma Morrison already on the stage. That Hyundai, 39 seconds between these guys. O'Donovan and Morris can't afford to lose any time because they've only got 3 seconds to the Skoda behind of Tony Robinson and Paul Spooner, but we don't want to see those two come together. They're ever so close. Ollie will be a little frustrated. John has a point to prove. Reigning champion, championship leader, 2nd place in the rally. And is he holding up that Hyundai? I don't think so. I think they're fairly tight. I think you've got to mark a man, and it's very easy to get close to somebody in the chicanes when you are that close. But no, both cars almost like synchronized swimmers around the hairpin at the end of the pit lane, and you can see they're having a real fight on the stage. 2nd and 3rd in the rally, fighting on the stage as well. And I want to stay here in the studio and watch this unfold, but I am going to have to join our winners as we go down to the podium and wait for our top 3 in the MGJ Engineering Circuit Rally Championship to come down here and get ready to celebrate. It's interesting, isn't it? And I said earlier, when you've got a competitive instinct, you can't just let somebody pass. It doesn't matter if that person is 39 seconds adrift from you. You're fighting and you're on the same bit of tarmac, and well, you're not going to give that bit of tarmac up, are you? Exciting stuff. I'm sure you will agree. And another exciting finish to one of these winter rallies. I don't think we're going to get the fully dark final stage that I was talking about earlier, are we? We've gone into that half of the year where the light just stays with us and hangs in there just a little longer. As I'm walking through the service area on the back of the Brabham building here in the paddock. The teams are packing away, the shuttles are being prepared for those hard-working rally cars to come and take a rest as they travel back home. Some travelling as far as north of Scotland to be with us here at Brands Hatch this weekend. So some of those cars got a fair old trek back to the workshop. Pete Rayner, by the way, confirming that it is the Chris West in the car with Oliver Hucklebridge. If I'd have known that earlier, I'd have gone and grabbed a word and got his thoughts on the championship, because that Peugeot 306 Maxi, indeed, with Keith Hounslow alongside a former champion, was once a familiar piece of the furniture here in the Circuit Rally Championship. It'd be good to have it back out, wouldn't it? It's a nice atmosphere settling down here in the paddock. Just wandering down through the service area to where we'll be doing the champagne spraying. But who will it be? Right, John Griffiths, Emma Morrison, listening to Andrew Coley on the commentary here at the circuit. They have got themselves through the flying finish. If you've got your eyes glued to the live results at rallies.info, you will know at least as quick as me, if not before me, because my fingers are taking a bit of time to adjust. Right, Michael Igoe, Will Atkins have done it. 41 seconds in the end between them and John Griffiths and Emma Morrison. And it does look like Patrick O'Donovan and Jack Morton have brought it home. No, sorry, that's the third time in, isn't it? It'll be Ollie O'Donovan, but Patrick, by the way, this is just to add insult to injury with that 5-minute penalty, was fastest on the last 2 stages, I think, maybe even 3 stages. It's going to very much be a case of what could have been had we had that second of the Hyundais fighting without that penalty. Perhaps one to discuss another day, but a 5-minute penalty for an accidental trip into a chicane just seems like a step too far. Doesn't somehow feel right, does it? As Ollie himself said, it's difficult to see an upside to a penalty of that size. It's certainly had its effect, hasn't it, on today's result? And I suppose you'd say rules are rules. John Griffiths himself came a cropper with hitting chicanes earlier in the season. Light just dropping and the temperature back into -degrees now here at Brands Hatch. Luckily dry, and luckily the wind has dropped as well, making it doable, shall we say. Right, we're just waiting for that time, or you've probably seen it. I'm waiting for that time from... There we go. Confirmed then at this stage. Tony Robinson, Paul Spooner just couldn't do enough through that last stage. In fact, they've lost a further 3 seconds, but take nothing away from their performance today. Equaling their best result of the season, which was at Cadwell Park. Another 4th place in the Skoda R5, and another day entertaining us, and certainly proving a point if there was indeed one to prove, but not yet on the podium, joining us here for the celebrations. I'm no doubt that they will be delighted with their performance today, though. But it is Michael Igoe, Will Atkins taking the win today, putting them into the lead of the MGJ Engineering Circuit Rally Championship, but only just. John Griffiths, Emma Morrison coming home 2nd place. These are all provisional results, of course, as always at the end of an event, until they've been confirmed as final. 41 seconds back, and then Ollie O'Donovan, Ashley Morris salvaging a bit of damage limitation for the team, although Patrick O'Donovan will be going home wishing it was him, celebrating with some silverware and some bubbly at the end of today. And in many ways, so it should have been. Well, I don't think even the World Rally Championship can't beat that, can it? 4 different manufacturers in the top 4 of a rally. Citroen, Ford, Hyundai, Skoda. It's good. There we go. The results are as confirmed as they'll be. The champagne is getting prepared, and we're going to bring you some reaction as our drivers coming in. I think it's really nice to do it this way. Sometimes we've been quite clinical about how we've done finish celebration interviews in the past on events like these, and I like the dynamic of grabbing the drivers and co-drivers as they get out of the car when, you know, they're still brimming with adrenaline, and they're just, in some cases, letting it sink in. Yet again, another performance befitting a champion for John Griffiths and Emma Morrison. Did they have what it took to win today? Well, you'll never quite know. Did they need to? Again, time will tell when we get to the end of this championship, but certainly right now, you'd argue that there's a case for saying, nope, consistency and podium finishes is what's got them so far into the position where they come here leading the championship. They might not go away from here leading the championship, but it's very, very tight. And it doesn't take very many miles for John Griffiths to prove why he and Emma Morrison took this Circuit Rally Championship last season. In the Dayglow orange helmet, looking more like he's climbing out of a speedboat than a rally car. But I'm just checking to see if there's a smile in there. Yes, I think a satisfied smile from John. A job well done, and against stiff opposition today.
Yeah, I mean, the good old girl, she kept in there. There's only a few seconds in it, but that few seconds matters overall. But yeah, more than pleased, no mistakes. Bit iffy this morning, but yeah, really pleased with this afternoon's performance.
And the other girls done a good job today as well.
Yeah.
What a day.
Yeah, good fun. This afternoon's been really good. This morning was a little bit tentative, wasn't it, in the ice, but yeah, really good fun this afternoon. More championship points.
Stand back a little bit, I'm sure if Michael can see me where he's reversing that situation. But I said just now, before you guys arrived, that you're kind of displaying the performances that got you this championship, keeping a level head and not chucking it all away by, I mean, I have to say you were entertaining us with Ollie O'Donovan out there in that one. It doesn't matter whether you're next to somebody on a leaderboard or whether you've got a big gap. When you're on the same bit of tarmac, you're not giving it up, are you?
No, but bless Ollie, he's seen us coming twice and he's given to us, and we didn't hold him up and he didn't hold us up, so that's how it should be.
I don't think there was any giving going on there. I think that was whoever got their nose in first, up to Druids.
A few times we was looking at each other through the side window saying, okay, is it me or you?
What were you saying at that moment?
I was sort of saying, go for it, push him, let's go. So
when that nose went up the inside goes to Druids there, we were all like, oh no, they're just through. And then you both came round like synchronized swimmers in the pit lane round that hairpin. You'll enjoy watching that back. Right, John Griffiths, Emma Morrison takes second place, but taking the win today, Michael Argo, Will Atkins. He looks more relieved than delighted. Will looks knackered. Come round here together, guys, because that is some performance from a crew that this time last year were doing their first rally, and it's very easy to say that because Michael was a professional racing driver driving GT cars that he should know these days. It doesn't work like that. We've seen it so often. What a year that has been to get to the point where you are, fighting for wins, event in, event out.
Yeah, no, it was only saying with Will earlier on today that, literally less than 12 months ago we were sort of here, and for our first stage I didn't even know what time control really was. I'd only just done my licence like a month before that. It's interesting to say we're here now fighting for it. It's good. No, really enjoying it. Will's done a cracking job. Team have done a great job with the car. Looking forward to Snetterton.
Will, there were times when you could have backed off today. It didn't look like you did.
The last couple, just a touch, but yeah, we tried to set the pace early on, and then after that it was okay really. The pace seemed to come quite easy, so it's always nice when it's like that.
I mean, that's 3 wins in the championship from 4 events. That's a pretty decent scoreline. You're going to leave here leading the championship, I think, if my maths works out, or very close.
Yeah, I think we'll be still in second, but close. It's like Will just said there, the last 3 stages today, it's just time to back off. There's too much risk. You've seen what happened with Patrick earlier on today.
So what happened with you at Cadwell?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it can happen to anyone. There's a time and a place, isn't there? The earlier stages in the day are really important that we have to push, but towards the back end of the day, it was time to sort of lift off.
Well done, guys. Fantastic results today. Our rally winners, Michael Igo, Will Atkins. Just before you do the celebrations, Ollie, Ashley, we're not in front of your car here, but that's fine. We've got plenty of images of your car today. That last stage there, you were having a good old tussle on the tarmac. You do know that it's not about racing, right?
Yeah, it is. I've been a rallycross there from between John and myself without touching. We're close. But I know we had good fun. I enjoyed the last couple of stages. We had no delays, and we got back on the pace again, and hence we're here on the podium.
I just had an impression of you. I imagined you telling him off on that last one. It was like a cross between rallycross and synchronised swimming coming through the pit lane around the hairpin.
I'm looking forward to seeing it back, actually. But yeah, I think I'm getting quite used to it, actually. So no, I didn't tell him off. But
whoever's nose was in front of Druids, and it was like watching touring cars.
But yeah, we had a good last couple of stages because we were held up on a couple of the earlier ones, but the last two were just really good fun. Really enjoyed them.
Well, one Hyundai had a pretty disappointing day, which I'm sure the conversations will rumble on after this, but the other one had a pretty good day in the end.
Yeah, obviously I'm very disappointed for Patrick. I'd much rather him. He's a young lad up and coming. I'd rather him be here on third instead of me, but yeah, his pace is still there, so he's unlucky, and he'll learn.
Well, O'Donovan, Ashley Morris, well done. Our podium is rounded off here at Brands Hatch for round 4 of the MGJ Engineering Circuit Rally Championship. And I tell you what, I've already said it, but 4 different manufacturers in the top 4 here makes that a pretty fitting end to ultimately a club rally championship, which is really finding its feet. And, you know, take notice and, you know, pay attention, because circuit rallying has its place. And, you know, to have Ford, Citroen, Skoda and Hyundai all fighting for the top 4 positions in this championship just makes it a pretty good story. Ollie O'Donovan trying to make himself safe by standing behind me. I'm not sure it works like that, although I'm pretty good at avoiding these champagne corks. John Stone and Carl Williamson remain the only 2 drivers who have ever actually managed to get me properly. I have a long drive home. I don't really want to be smelling of champagne. Well, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. We have our top 3, and confirmed there by Michael Igo. Despite having 3 wins from 4 events, that won't put him in the lead of the championship. It's very tight, though. I couldn't quite work it out earlier, but I was thinking that probably would just give him the edge, but certainly gives him the edge in terms of confidence, doesn't it? But an exciting end to today's 4th round of the MGJ Engineering Circuit Rally Championship. That's all we've got time for here from Brands Hatch today, but we hope you've enjoyed the action. Our first live coverage of 2024, and it's been great to have you join us on the live stream today, so thank you wherever you've been joined in. Callum Cross gets the prize for the furthest travelled spectator watching from home, because he was watching from Las Vegas. Enjoy the rest of your holiday, Callum, and to the rest of you, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thank you for tuning in to the MGJ Engineering Circuit Rally Championship.